What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Ray Herself podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening last week, the weeks before. Thank you for sharing this on your IG story, for tweeting me screenshots. I really love to see that. I feel like I need to burp right now, actually. Okay, no. Can we all just take a moment and take a breath? Because I don't know about you, but I certainly feel all over the place, and for good reason. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see all these moving boxes behind me. I'm recording this podcast a week in advance because I'm moving day after tomorrow as of recording this, and then I literally have 2 days, and then I'm going on a trip. And on one hand, I've talked about this, but I really love like the go, go, go lifestyle, because I feel like, also especially right now, I feel like a lot of us probably feel this way. We just were in the house for so long, not really doing anything. So I'm definitely excited, and it's definitely like blessings. But sometimes going through the motions or the anticipation of something happening can be a little overwhelming. So like last night I woke up at 1 a.m. and I was up for like 2 hours just going over everything that I had to do, before my actual moving day, and then like preparing for my trip because I don't want to be doing everything last minute. And I am a very organized person, and it's like I know that I'm going to get everything done and I know that it's going to be fine, but it's still just like sometimes it feels like a lot. And I'm sure you can relate. Like I remember feeling this way too in school, with like finals, or sometimes you just have such a long to-do list and it just seems so overwhelming. But bitch, we got this. Whatever you're going through right now, you got this, I got this, we fucking got this. And I feel like it doesn't really necessarily help that it's Mercury retrograde. I was just looking up some articles. This literally says, this is from Refinery 29. This astrologer, Mandy Murphy, says, wait, where was it? What the heck? Oh, yes, says, oh no, never mind. This is the article, not that astrologer, but in the article they say Mercury retrogrades always make us feel restless, like we're not ticking the boxes off of our to-do lists fast enough. And that's like exactly how I feel. Like I just constantly feel, at least like right now, I just constantly am feeling like a little behind in everything. I'm like, bitch, relax. Like then I'll literally sit down and make a to-do list and I'm like, okay, it's not actually that bad, and I get it all done, But it's just the mental aspect of it, of like thinking of it all at once. It's like, yeah, okay, obviously you're gonna feel overwhelmed when you're looking at it that way, but then once you're actually doing something, it's like, I don't know, at least in my experience, I feel like it's always so much easier, and like it's never really as bad as I think, So my advice for this time of Mercury retrograde, but especially just any time when you're feeling like overwhelmed, like, bitch, make a to-do list, first of all. I know for some of us that comes really naturally, but I know not everyone's like that. I know it really helps me. And maybe that's obvious, but it's just being able to, like, visualize everything that you have to do, like, seeing it out on paper or on your phone screen. So important, and just really, like, breaks it down, And just, like, doing things. I read something, I actually reposted it on my story, but it was like real self-care is like doing something you don't necessarily want to do in the moment to help your future self. And obviously take that with a grain of salt. Like it's important to enjoy the moment sometimes and just do something because it is a good time in the moment. But sometimes you got to do the force yourself method. You got to force yourself to, like, not that I'm forcing myself to record a podcast early, but it's like usually I would not do 2 podcasts in a week, but I'm like, I want to make my future self proud, and I want to be able to post next week, so let me do this, even though it's another thing to add on my to-do list. Not that this feels like a chore or anything, but it's just an example, obvi. But we got to make our future selves proud. Yeah. So just feeling like a little overwhelmed, and then I feel like sometimes for me, it's like if I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed, that just honestly like seeps out into the rest of my life. So I'll start getting annoyed at like just everything. And then it almost feels like more stress is being piled on. It's like, okay, take a step back, like chill. So I'm just really, even though it's kind of like go, go, go these next few days, honestly, I am also trying to remind myself that it's important to like take breaks, whether that's a nap or just like, bitch, I did my first yoga with Adrian yesterday, like for the first time since before my BBL. And I just forgot like what a huge difference it makes. Yeah, it's just crazy, you know, how much better mentally and emotionally you feel after that. Like just taking time to like, I mean, maybe you're just going to do a meditation or something, but I feel like yoga is really like a form of meditation because it's kind of, you know, I think it's actually like merging mind, body, spirit. But even just like putting yourself back in your body and breathing into your body, because, you know, when we're stressed, it's like we're so in our heads and like we can forget to take deep breaths and we can forget to even like eat enough or drink enough water or whatever, you know, we're not, you know, maybe we're clenched in like our shoulders or whatever. So like taking that time to just like really put ourselves back in our bodies and like breathe and like clear our minds, like it's just so important. And I was like, damn, like I've been kind of stressed out recently, low key, like not crazy, but you know, obviously moving is like a big thing, even though it's not like I'm consciously like, oh, I'm stressed about this, but you know, it's like your body almost kind of senses the change and like that you're going to have a lot of stuff to do. So it's just kind of like interesting. I don't know. I'm just like, bitch, relax. Like, you know what you need to do to chill. And I just personally keep trying to remind myself, like, there's bullshit in everything. You know, like, no matter what, at least for me, maybe you're a very laid back person. I'm definitely not. Bitches be stressed out. Like, it's like always something, you know? Like, even if you have something fun coming up, it's like maybe you're still like, oh, what am I gonna wear? Like, fuck, I need to find an outfit. Or like, oh, like, if it ain't one thing, it's a motherfucking another, you know? One moment you're stressed about your BBL, the next moment you're stressed about your new apartment. It just, but then I'm like, okay, blessed. Like, okay, not that I'm like, it's like you need to put everything I need to put everything in perspective. It's just like, fuck. Sometimes it's just like really, it's like, damn, it's really just me versus me out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, fuck. I was gonna say self-love, but it's like like, if, like, I got me, you know? Anyway. It's just been a lot. I feel like time has been flying so fast. Like, I don't know how it's already June. That's, like, really shocking to me. Because I feel like it was just March. It's just fucking weird. But, yeah, I mean, I am very excited to get into my new place. And, like, I just feel like it's going to be a new era. And I just feel like I'm so excited about, like, my new little desk area. And, like, even just, like, I want to have a cute background for, like, my podcast, and that's, like, my podcasting area. Like, this is where I sit and this is where I record my podcast, and the background's, like, cute and it's just good lighting and, like, whatever. Like, this just always felt very just random to me, and just, like, doing it, like, filming here because I have to, not because I like the background or like it or whatever. Like, I just feel like that's going to change my vibe so much, and therefore change, like, my content in a good way, of course, like, not crazy, but, you know, just make it better. And it's like, I know this is all, like, good, but then it's just like, we got to get there. We got to go through the motions to get there, you know? So let me know in a comment, like, if you've been feeling this kind of not being able to check your to-do list off fast enough vibe. Like, has time been flying for you like it has for me? It's just crazy. And then it's also Gemini season, so it's like, bitch, I want to be, like, social. I feel like that's been really great. But then it's like, oh my God, like, time definitely does go by faster when you're, like, I don't know. Like, if I'm at home all day, like, the day feels like forever, you know? But then if it's like I'm out doing stuff, it's like time. The day just goes by like that. It's like, Yeah. But trying to remind myself, there's always going to be bullshit. And it's never like you're going to reach a point where you're like, okay, this is it forever. Like even right now, it's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to have my new like desk area and like get into my new spot. But then it's like, bitch, I'm still going to have fucking problems there. Not like, problems always happen to me or whatever. But it's like, there's just always bullshit in life. So you have to actually take the effort to like de-stress and to enjoy yourself and be in the moment. Like it's not, unless you're just like, you don't think, I guess, like maybe ignorance is bliss, like you just don't stress out ever in your mind and it's just happy times. Couldn't be me. Bitches be stressed out a lot, okay? And I'm learning to embrace it, I think I said this about May, like the month of May, but I'm learning to like embrace negativity, which I think is important. But yeah, unless you're like just ignorance is bliss, just enjoying everything. Like you have to seriously make the effort to like, I don't want to say be happy because that sounds kind of like depressing or like, oh, it's hard to be happy, but like to be in the moment, and just like find that true inner peace. Like I feel like that's kind of my main focus these days. Because it's just so easy to get like off of that, And I don't know if that's just like being a human or maybe just like the modern world that we live in, maybe social media, like I don't know, probably a combination of all of those things. But I feel like the older I get, the more I realize like how important, or maybe the more I continue to realize like how important inner peace is, and like feeling truly just happy and like not like ecstatically happy or anything, but just that like really calm, just, I don't know. I just think of like certain moments, maybe you're like at the beach with your friends, sitting in the sun, and it's just like the breeze is perfect. It's the perfect temperature. You're not thinking really about anything. You're just thinking, or you're just like experiencing how great that moment is. Like it's moments like that, or you do a meditation or you do yoga and you're like just not even thinking about how great it is. You're just experiencing how great it is and like calm and relaxing and like peaceful. Like it's honestly, like, I don't want to say it's difficult again to like get to that, but it definitely takes effort, like sometimes, especially when, we all have our modern lives and we all have to work, and like maybe you're going to school or you have kids and we all like have all these responsibilities. Not to mention like even harder circumstances, So it's like you just really have to like try and like really make time to practice. And that's why meditation is so important. So I'm really trying to get back into that. Not that like I stopped, but I guess kind of during my, BBL recovery, it was just kind of like uncomfortable to like, obviously I couldn't do any yoga. But I don't know, I just, anytime I would like lay down, because, I remember I like couldn't even sit down, like I would just be thinking about like how uncomfortable it was, and it would be hard to relax my mind. So now I'm like getting back into the yoga with Adrian, and really remembering like how, like what that feels like, and just getting back into the routine of like trying to do it every day, because it makes such a difference in like the rest of your life and in the rest of your days. And it's like, that's like my focus, like I don't want more and more for myself, like in terms of career, or I don't know, like even what are other examples of things people want in life, like a relationship, or like, whatever success means to you. Like, it's like, I don't want that without the peace of mind and like the inner peace and the inner knowing and like the self-awareness and like the self-knowing, because all of that physical, material maybe stuff, or all of that quote unquote success honestly really means nothing if you're not like in the right mindset to enjoy it. Because you can enjoy something and like you could have total peace of mind and like maybe not necessarily be where you want to be. Maybe you don't have your dream job or your dream house or, dream family or whatever yet, but like maybe you've just been working a lot on meditation or, calming your mind, and you just really feel happy a lot of the time, or just really relaxed and at peace. But then you could look like you have everything, and really you just are constantly stressed out, and you feel like it's not enough, and you still feel insecure or whatever. Like, emotions are never really going to leave us, no matter how much we have or how much we accomplish or how much of our to-do list we do that day, like, we're still going to have our feelings and our emotions. So, like, I think that should be the number one priority, and that's not, like, I'm not trying to say, like, money can't buy happiness, bitch. Like, obviously we all need food and shelter and, like, to be safe, but as far as, like, all the extra stuff and, like, oh, like, I'm good now, but I want more, it's like, to an extent, that's fine. It's fine to, like, have goals for yourself, and, like, it's fine to, like, I don't know, have a dream house or have a dream car or have a dream family or whatever. Like, this is what I want. I'm going to work towards that. But it's like, first of all, I want to make sure I'm good and my mind is right and I'm able to, like, be relaxed and, like, chill. Like, it's just so important. So that's kind of been, like, on my mind recently, and I feel like it's good that I have, like, self-awareness about this, because it's like, even though I do feel obviously experience emotions and, like, stress and feeling overwhelmed, it's like I'm able to notice it and not let it get to the point where it, like, consumes me. And that, I feel like, just takes a lot of practice, because it's just so, like, fucking hard. Anyway, I just wanted to share, like, I had a dream last night that I was at some kind of, like, I don't know, like, it almost felt like a field trip kind of vibe. Like, it was a bunch of, like, my peers staying at this house. Not like a Jersey Shore house, but I will say that Vinny was there, and we were, like, flirting. I think we were gonna fuck, but then I woke up, so it was a little sad, but then it was kind of fucked up, because I remember looking out the window, and there was, like, this guy, like, laying in the bushes. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I looked later, like, hours later in the dream, and he was still there. So I was like, I think I need to, like, call an ambulance or something. Like, is he, like, okay? Like, why is he just lying down in the bushes? But then he, like, got up and he was like, you really thought that I was dead? Like, are you serious? And I was like, bitch, yes, you were lying here for hours, like, in the bush in the dark. Like, what is wrong with you? Men being annoying even in my dreams. Bro. I've been having some, like, real vivid dreams recently. Not as much recently, but, like, a couple weeks ago, I feel like every night I was having the most, like, intense dreams. Like, not necessarily stress dreams or, like, scary dreams or anything, but just, like, they were so vivid. Like, I would remember everything from them. It's just, like, interesting when that happens. Dude, yeah, so we're basically halfway through the year now, so I don't really remember what my resolutions were. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I said I want to enjoy myself. I definitely, I don't know. I feel like the year, honestly, is, like, more so the first half of the year and the second half of the year. And maybe part of it is that my birthday is in kind of the middle of the year in the summer, so I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know, I just always feel like the first part of the year, like winter and part of spring, is kind of just, like, wrapping up the year before. And I feel like the new year doesn't really start until, like, spring, summer. Does anyone relate? I don't know. So I'm just kind of excited to see, like, I don't know, I just think when I always look back at, like, oh, how I looked that year, like, I had my black hair era, or when I had short hair or whatever, it's usually, like, in the summer that look started or whatever, whereas in the beginning of the year, it's like I still looked like how I looked from the year before, or I was still, like, talking to the same person, or, like, whatever. So I'm just, like, kind of interested to see what's gonna happen. But yeah, it's kind of, like, not officially summer, we haven't had summer solstice yet, but we're, like, pretty much there. It's June now. It is, like, pure antic seasons, pure antic hours. I went to this day party on Memorial Day, and it was, like, outdoors and everything. I vlogged it, actually. It's, like, so funny, because I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna vlog my antics, and then I'll just, like, the more I drink, the more I want to vlog. And I was, like, looking at all these clips that I was taking the next day, and I was like, damn, that's like kind of embarrassing because, you know, like when you're lit, you kind of just like, not even that maybe you have this thought, but it's kind of just like you almost assume everyone around you is as lit as you or in your same little like video game reality that you're now in. Oh, this is embarrassing. Because I was just like holding my phone so high, like literally vlogging so much. I mean, like, love that for me. Like, it's great content, but like, I mean, like, not that I'm going to stop. I just think it's a little comedic. And then I just remember like these bros were like looking at me do that. And I was like, are they looking at me or are they looking at me vlogging? And then I vlogged and literally I said it loud as fuck. I was like, these bros keep looking at me. It was like, they probably heard me. But it's like, I don't really care. Like, whatever. Could be worse, you know? Me when I'm lit. Oh my God, I vlogged. That's so embarrassing. I just love a pure wholesome antic though. Like, I don't know. I just really want to, like, I feel like pure balance of let's look ahead to the future and like do things that are going to make our future self proud or our older self proud, but then also like enjoying being young, you know, because it really does go by so fast. And it's crazy to me that like my sister is about to be 20 like just in a couple weeks, and I feel like I was just 20, like literally just. I mean, we're only 3 years apart, so it's not like crazy, but still, like, I remember the June where I was 20, like, I guess I was about to be 21 at that point, but like, what? Like, that seems like it was just, like, a year ago or something. I mean, like, also part of it might be that we kind of lost a year useless. Like, lost a year of potential memes and, like, trips and, like, I don't know, shenanigans, but, like, it's still weird. So I'm like, let me enjoy myself. And like, I'm still kind of at the age where like when I tell people who I first meet how old I am, they're like, oh, you're such a baby. Like, oh, you're so young. It's like, bitch, that's not forever, you know? So not that I personally, at least at this point, not that I like fear getting older. I kind of honestly feel like I was meant to be old because I just always kind of feel like, I don't know, like a lot of people are really dumb. Like, I just can't wait to get older and wiser. But yeah, it's like I still want to enjoy these like years of bullshitting a little bit and like it being acceptable, you know? It's like, what's gonna happen? Fuck. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this TikTok I saw, or this idea. Let's just watch it.
This is why men often value their time with the boys rather than women so highly. They seek approval, acceptance, and confidence, and society has taught them that you get those from other men. And because they're so deeply entrenched in the male gaze, they are completely unattached from the female gaze. Let's once again use this image as an example. Are there women that want men that go to the gym? Of course. But the male gaze demands that a man be perceived as manly. That approval, acceptance, and confidence will be not given by women, but by other men. And some men are literally shocked that they don't get approval from women when society has taught them that you don't get that from women. How could you possibly seek approval from a woman when society has literally taught you that they are not the source of that, that they are objects, things of subservience? The patriarchal view of women also explains many behaviors of women that men can't seem to wrap their stupid heads around, which will be discussed in part 3.
That is at another silly gay on TikTok, but this just like summed it up. He summed it up so concisely, you know? But it just made me think of like, I think it was someone else on TikTok. I saw it so long ago, so I don't remember who it was, but I think they were going over like dating. No, maybe it was low-key like a guy who like changed his dating profile. I don't remember if like someone was comparing different dating profiles, like different dating profiles of men, or if it was a guy that was like used to have his dating profile be the very like male gaze of like what men think women find attractive, you know, like just being so like bulky or like ripped, I guess, like huge muscles. You know, they like don't smile in their pics, or like they take like a mirror selfie with their shirt lifted, or they're like fishing or hunting, all these things that are, perceived by society and are that standard set, by patriarchy, by men as like what is manly. Whereas women most of the time like don't really find that attractive. Like I think the guy had gained weight or something, or had gotten like less ripped, or maybe these were like two different TikToks. But then he posted pics where like he was smiling and he had not like a dad bod, but just he didn't have that like, oh, all you do is spend time in the gym bod. I'm not attracted to that at all. Like I'm really not. When I like a guy or I'm attracted to a guy, it's not because of that. Like I think a guy with a lot of muscles like that, like honestly, it's kind of a turn off. It's not even like, oh, it's not a turn on. It's like a turn off. It's like, ew, you spend that much time on how you look. Like, I don't know. Not really my vibe. I mean, maybe it is for you, but like, anyway, he just looked a lot more, he looked a lot softer. Not like, oh, you're soft. Oh, you're a pussy, you're soft. But just like, not this really harsh, I'm a man, like traditional masculinity. His pictures just looked like he was just a nice, wholesome little guy, and that's like more attractive, because as women, most of the time, it's like, I want respect. I want you to not, I don't want someone who believes in these like, I don't, like if I have kids with you, I don't want our kids to grow up with this idea of like what masculinity looks like. Like I think honestly my worst fear is like having oh my God, knock on wood, but like having a kid with a guy that like when they do the gender reveal and he starts like crying out of like anger that it's a girl, or like he's a little too excited that it's a boy. Bitch, season 6, Ron and Sam like were at lunch and Sam was like, imagine we had kids, and Ron was like, I want a boy. She was like, what would you do if it was a girl? And he was like, push it back in. Bitch, he had a daughter. And just like all the red flags about him. Ew, oh my God. Like I literally bring it up in every podcast, but it's just like such a classic example, like ew. So yeah, so then it's just like very interesting. And then it just makes you think like what even is real? Like what are my original thoughts, or like what do I even actually like? Because it's like, oh, I feel cute when I have my lashes and when my hair and nails are done, and like, oh, I want to have my body look like this, and I want to be snatched, and like, oh, I want my butt to be bigger. I want my, like, whatever. And it's like, who am I? Because those are all pretty like, societally acceptable, or like, those are all things that society deems like the standard, or that society deems beautiful or whatever. So it's like, oh yeah, well, I just feel more confident. It's like, yeah, you do, because you're assimilating more into like the ideal of like what a woman should look like or whatever. And that's kind of on my mind too, because someone commented on one of my BBL vlogs, like, oh, they were telling me to watch a video. I haven't watched it yet because I literally just saw the comment right before this. But someone made a video about like, is plastic surgery feminist? And it's like, you could say, I haven't watched the video again, so I don't know what the takeaway was. But it's like, you could say yes, because it's like, I'm choosing what to do with my body. But then it's also like, okay, you are like doing this to look more like societal standards, so therefore it's like just like, but then it's also like, are you hating on other women? Kind of like the bimbofication idea of, embracing all these traditional feminine things, because so often they're looked upon as like, oh, if you dress like that, or like pink, or you wear pink, or you wear short skirts, or have your hair big, or I don't know, if you have like a more feminine voice or whatever, it's like, oh, well, you're probably just dumb and stupid. And it's like, I feel like a lot of us grow up, you know, wanting to be so far detached or like away from that. It's like, I want to prove that I'm not like other girls. I'm not a girly girl. Like, no, I'm just like one of the boys. The fucking cool girl monologue, you know? Like, there was definitely a period of time in elementary school where I refused to wear dresses. It's like, bitch, dresses are more comfortable than like a pant. Like a jean. And I wonder if maybe that was like part of it. Like, it was probably 3rd or 4th grade. I was just like, no. Or like, you know, you just don't want to say that pink is your favorite color. I don't know. Did anyone else like go through that? I've talked about this before too, but like, I just remember in 5th grade, right before we were about to go into middle school, like there was definitely some girls that were, you know, already wearing makeup, or like, you know, they would shop at Hollister. They were like a little more trendy and like cute. They would like straighten their hair. And I wasn't really like that at that age, especially I think being like the oldest sister. It's not like I had an older sister to like look up to and like, oh, teach me how to do your makeup. Like, you know, I was the first one. So I was still very much a kid. Like, I hadn't absorbed, at least like super consciously, like what I guess that meant. And like my friends and I would look at that as like, ew, like I don't want to be like those girls. And looking back, it was basically the fucking bimbo meme of like, you know, oh, the wholesome girl reading the book, and then or like the wholesome girl reading the book turning into the bimbo. Honestly, me. But it was kind of like that. Like, looking back, that's kind of what that was. Like, not that at 10, I think it was like 10 at that age, or in that grade. Not at 10 years old, I was like, oh, like thinking consciously, oh, I'm better than these girls because like I don't wear makeup yet. And I, you know, I'm still wearing my little turtlenecks from, I forget what website that was. Like, it was like a children's clothing store that my mom would buy me and my sister clothes from. I was not shopping at Hollister at 10, you know, but some girls were. It's not like I was consciously thinking, oh, I'm better than you because I'm not like dressing more feminine, or, you know, I'm not wearing makeup yet or whatever. But it was kind of like, I definitely noticed the distinction between like girls who were doing that already and like me and my friends who weren't. And I remember I had to wear, I think I got my first like training bra at that age, and I was like so humiliated and ashamed, and I would be like always checking in the mirror. Isn't that kind of fucked up? Like 10 years old and you're already, not that I was necessarily looking at like myself and my body, but like, you know, I just constantly wanted to make sure that my straps weren't showing like under my shirt. And it was like, I mean, that's just like puberty too, but I wonder if part of it is like, you know, ew, I'm like getting this more feminine body or whatever. Like, I'm turning into a woman. And it's like embarrassing. I don't know, because it's also just an awkward time as well. But I wonder like how much of it has to do with that. Yeah, so it's just like very interesting how much we're affected by all of this, and like just thinking back, you know, to when we were even kids and it affected us then. It's like no wonder we feel like this now, because it's been so ingrained in us from the jump. So it's like, I don't even know, like, what do we do? You know, like, I don't really have like a takeaway or like, yeah, well, this is what I did to overcome that. It's like, no, I'm still definitely in it. Not the camera, like, literally dying. It's because I was filming time lapses of me packing. That's why. But it's just like, it's so interesting to say the least. You know, it's kind of like horrifying, but it's also just like, like that's where this comes from. I was like, yeah. Anyway, would love to hear your thoughts on that subject if you ever kind of thought about that or experienced anything similar. But that's why I just really emphasize, you know, honestly, it's really hard to find a cis het guy that, you know, is actively working against these things. So that's why I really try to say, like, if you are dating a straight man or sleeping with one or whatever, like, make sure that you're fucking gaining something out of it, because otherwise, like, what do you gain? You know, because ultimately, like, you're not really gonna get that like, I don't know, emotional like validation, or like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of like the expectations that we have are kind of fantasies because of like, you know, what our fucking Disney movies teach us of like, oh, our Prince Charming. And it's like, it's not actually like that because of patriarchy, and like men don't really look at us as people. They look at us as women. So make sure that you're gaining something, because there's already so much inequality like in these relationships that we have with them, you know, from the orgasm gap to like emotional labor and, you know, just expectations within relationships and like gender and dynamics in between the two, and like, ew, yeah. So make sure that you're gaining something, or honestly just don't talk to one, because it's kind of a waste. And okay, not to be like bad vibes, but I just say this because like maybe someone will relate, but you know, like when maybe you're dating someone or talking to someone and then something gets like fucked up or whatever, and you're like trying to be positive about it. So you're like, I mean, maybe you're hurt, but then ultimately you're like, okay, well, I learned this lesson, you know, I learned this about myself, you know, I uncovered this insecurity that this person brought out in me. I learned, you know, okay, next time I'll set better boundaries. Next time I'll look for these red flags. I'll be able to spot them better. And I just feel like after every relationship I've had, like specifically with a man, like I've always kind of learned some kind of lesson about myself, about life, about setting boundaries, about like my self-worth, whatever. And I was like, you know what? Probably no dude I've talked to has ever like learned a lesson in that way, you know? And it just really made me, that kind of like realization, maybe this is a Mercury retrograde realization, but it just really made me reflect on like that idea and like how, like, I feel like I've talked about this before in past videos or podcasts, but you know, so much of this like self-help, you know, learning lessons, how to be better in relationships, the whole industry is so targeted towards women. And like we had just have all these magazines like telling us how to attract men, how to get the guy of your dreams, like how to be a better girlfriend, a better wife, like just all these things on how we can fix ourselves. And like, okay, maybe men experience that, but certainly not to the degree that we do, you know? And so it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to like stop learning the lessons, because like ultimately it is in my best interest too, you know, and I would rather, you know, move forward with self-growth than like than be stagnant, you know. I really do think there is a learning opportunity in every relationship or every situation to a certain degree, you know. Like that's not to say you can use that as an excuse for someone treating you shitty, but I feel like most of the time, at least personally, like it's like, okay, I learned something about life, about myself, about what I want or don't want, whatever. So I guess it's just another example of like kind of that inequality in these relationships, you know, like has he changed his behavior from his past relationship or the last person he talked to, or like what did he take away? Maybe that'd be a good, like, I don't know if a first date question, but maybe that'd be a good question to someone that you're talking to. I don't know. I've never really like dabbled in that, but it was just kind of an interesting idea that I had, like, another example of how we're just expected to like try harder, be better. You can fix yourself. You could be better. There's room for you to grow. And like what, men are just perfect as they are? Like, why aren't they pressured into fucking learning a lesson? Like, are you serious? Like, where's the self-awareness in that? In them? So just a little interesting concept. Let me know your thoughts on that. Kind of honestly a Mercury retrograde realization. But just make sure that you're fucking gaining something. Because, bitch, don't fucking waste your time if you're not. It's not worth it. Like, let me tell you. Yeah. Shout out to everyone with interesting close friends. Keep spilling the tea. Love you. Anyway, I think that's all I have to talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I am currently in New York City the day that this goes up, so vlogs coming soon. Hope you are all caught up on the moving vlogs and whatnot. Love you guys so much. Don't forget to share this to your Instagram story, Twitter, etc. Send me a screenshot, take an aesthetic boomerang, etc. Love you, and I will talk to you guys next week.